From dark jungles and deep swamps, dense forests, and hidden laboratories around the world. Primal rage, high-tech circuitry, servos, blood, flesh and sinew, creatures and beings, automatons, mysteries never before dreamed. And nightmares never before viewed. Come now and join us for Creepies and Beep Beeps. General Thane is, by all accounts, a great tactician and a powerful warrior. He is also the father of Pale, but as we find out in the course of the story, he is not the biological father of Pale. But he still views Pale as a son and tries to protect him as a father would. Thane is mighty, he is big, he is strong. He is one of the best warriors of the entire kingdom. In the comics, Thane's prowess comes to a head as he faces off against Kali, his evil minions. And several times, he gets the upper hand. But of course, there is one time he does not. But Thane is brought in an action figure form by Spiro Toys. A brilliant sculpt. A brilliant sculpt that snaps when you move his midsection crunch. He has scars on his chest and just looks fantastic. I have seen some people complain about his feet. I don't know what to tell you guys if you've not seen a gorilla in your life, because that's kind of how gorillas look. Got kind of short feet, really long arms. Thane is obviously a gorilla. So, what do you want? He's big, he's chunky, he's a monkey. But he looks really, really cool. I really like this figure. I love the wear on the armor while still looking shiny and bright. That's really awesome. He has, of course, swappable hands. He's got fists. He's got grasping hands. He's got these semi-open hands that he can grasp with, but not quite as tightly. He can't grasp his hammer with those hands. My one little gripe about the figure is we've already seen 2 repaints. There was the PowerCon exclusive Tangier, which, okay, on that one I'll bend a little bit. I mean, it was a PowerCon exclusive. It was kind of a tribute to Beastman, so that one wasn't so bad. We're getting the exact same figure from the looks of things as the Horrid Brute. Now, the body use doesn't bother me, but they didn't even bother to give him a new head. That bothers me a lot, because now you have Thane standing in front of himself. And while the Brute is powerful, I don't know how I feel about being a mirror image of General Thane. To me, that's a little bit... I think they could have gone at least with a new head and would have made a whole lot more sense. Now, I don't knock this company too much because it is a small company. It's actually much smaller than Valiverse. And, you know, they're pumping out really premium product. I really love what they're doing. And while it's on the slightly high end, it's still reasonable. I mean, you're getting a lot for your money. So again, I don't want to cause any disparaging thoughts with Spiro Toys, because they're really good company and their customer service is top notch, just like most indie companies. So, I mean, I'll leave it at that. I was a little disappointed with the repainting, but I'm not going to say that's something I will knock General Thane for. I'm here to talk about Thane. Thane is freaking awesome. Now, the forearm bits of armor look like they are removable. I'm not going to remove them because I don't want to. I think on his bicep, I don't think that's removable. His shoulder armor does appear to be removable. Again, I'm not going to try it because, well, I like it the way it is. I much prefer his helmeted head. He just looks more fierce and ready for battle. And you can't help but notice a little bit of Roman Centurion influence in how that helmet looks. And it's kind of a fun thing to see animals in like armor that we recognize. Now, and the way of articulation, he is a little less, but Lord, he's a chunky monkey. I mean, let's face it, he's a big boy. Now, one thing I noticed when you sit him beside a blob, he's looking about the same size, which is interesting because blob comes with less accessories and is almost the same price. But this is done by an indie company. Do you think this is another nail in the coffin of Hasbro is overcharging us? Let's face it, these guys' basic figures come in at around $35. This is near the same price as Blob. Looks like the same amount of plastic. Yeah, I mean, hard not to think that there's a bit of gouging going on here with Hasbro, because you know their MRQ was much higher. So Animal Warrior of the Kingdom has really won me over. Their comic book is excellent. You should read it. It's a really cool read. I want to go over it at some point because it's just really fascinating and interesting to me. I like it. And I want, I kind of want to share it with people. And, General Thane is another one that I just really enjoy a great deal. I've enjoyed all the figures I bought from Animal Warriors of the Kingdom so far. I really feel like this is a really great figure line and is possibly pointing the way to the future. A lot of people talk about nostalgia, and to me, it's not the same thing. This and Action Force kind of both play in that funny field of, yeah, it feels familiar, but it's not the same thing. It's fresh and it's new. And, I know a lot of people with this one point at Thundercats and a little bit of He-Man. I'm, you know, Atreyu was the only one that I saw a little bit of Lion-O influence in. That's one guy. I mean, it's not the same thing to me. I'm usually not a big fan of monkeys. Um, I don't know why. But in this line, they've really kind of entertained me. I really kind of liked, Pale and Thane and the other, um, the other animals that have shown up. I'm interested to see what other animals will be produced. I did not know there was a 1/18th line of this until fairly recently, and I got to looking at it. I have to say, it's not a bad line, but the 6-inch line is much better. It's just a lot more detail, a lot more going for it. That doesn't mean I'm never gonna pick up any of the 1/18th scale. I'm just slow to do it. But General Thane, to me, is probably one of the best Animal Warriors of the Kingdom have put out. I know I kind of knocked it because they're repainting it, but at the same time, this is a great figure. That hammer is so awesomely imposing and intimidating. And I mean, look at it. It's just got all these dents in it from battles and stuff. It's just really, really awesome. you know, as soon as you look at it, your brain just goes into, where has this thing been through? How many asses has this kicked? And you just get this feeling, General Thane has been there, done that, and back again. So I will wrap this up with saying this is my favorite figure of the line. I really love it, and I can't wait to see what else Spiro has in store for us. It's just been really interesting and really fun to see some of the new reveals and some of the new animals and what's happening next. I mean, again, some people talk about nostalgia. To me, this is more nostalgic because it feels like the older days of collecting when you were like, who's next? What's going to happen next? Who are they going to bring in now? And why? Who is this person? What's their deal? How do they fit into the story? Kind of thing. I mean, again, I feel the same with Action Force. It's like, who's this new guy? How are they going to fit into the story? It's really fun, and I like it. And I want to really roll with it and go with it because that's what made me feel good about G.I. Joe and made me feel good about He-Man and made me feel good about even Star Wars. I mean, even though Star Wars wrapped up early because they ran out of movies, it was still, the action figure line was like, who's going to be next? Who's that obscure alien in the background they're going to pick out? And can you spot that alien the third or fourth time you see Star Wars? That was fun of Star Wars. But in the same way, it was the same thing with G.I. Joe. It was the same thing with He-Man. And that's what made these toy lines great. Obviously, they were great. We still talk about them and we still buy them. So I'm hoping this one ends up becoming at least a very remembered line. But it's got a long way to go before that happens. And it's cool. It's awesome. It's indie. It's an indie line that deserves your attention if you've not paid attention to it already. I really think if you start getting into Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, you're going to find a storyline you really like. And you're going to find a bunch of characters that remind you of what it's like to be in the new, to be curious, to learn more. And even if you don't end up buying the figures, if you can read the comics are $2 each, by the way, on spirotoys.com. I believe it's .com. Anyway, Spiro Toys, just Google search it, you'll find it. But they're $2. Read the comics at least. Give it a shot. I mean, worst it can be is you're out a couple of bucks and you don't like it. So, yeah, not that I'm trying to sell you on it, but I mean, to me, this is one of the best lines that is out right now and really deserves, people to take a look and to give it a try. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. So, I'll wrap up this episode of Infinite Realms. Don't forget to like and subscribe.